Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on which time zone you're in, where you're watching us right now. I'm Sasha, this is the International Auto Show in Frankfurt 2015, the biggest car show in the world. And we are obviously here at the Ford booth. And I'm talking to Barb Samardzich. Good morning. We've already had a great interview talking a little bit about the challenges of mobility, development of cities, but you know what's really interesting, Bob? When I take a look at your booth this year, this is all about, I wouldn't say it's all about gamification, no it's not, but it looks slightly different than the ones before. We have like Forza Motorsports, simulators, an amazing all-wheel drive simulator over here. Things are changing in the automotive industry, right?
Oh, they're definitely changing in the automotive industry. And just to explain what we've done with our booth this year, we focused on two areas. One is an important shift in segmentation in vehicles we see, at least here in Europe, which is all towards SUVs and crossover vehicles and giving customers that kind of utility with still great value. The other part that you've been very focused on since we've been here is the performance. So underneath our Ford Performance umbrella, we've got a display here that shows every vehicle we've got, from the Fiesta ST, Focus ST, to the new Focus RS that we're just announcing and will be launching at the end of this year, as well as the Mustang, and then of course our supercar, our GT, is in the corner. And then to make sure it has the real feel of how important performance is, we have all the electronics that go along with it on display and all the simulators for people to come and use and to enjoy. And get that experience virtually.
Yeah. And as a huge fan, I also have to say that you're coming back to Le Mans in 2016.
Yes, we are. When we announced our beautiful GT and launching, doing a small, very small production run of that, we also announced we would be back at Le Mans.
So it's interesting to see, we've already had the chance to talk to some of your developers that were working together with the developers of Forza Motorsport. It's interesting to see how the game developers community is now exchanging experiences with your developers, and you guys are really having an impact on those games and how they're developing them.
Yeah, well, we're actually hoping to have an impact with them and, supporting some of the games that use racing and use Ford vehicles. But we've also are hoping that the gamers are going to have an impact on us. We've gone out and made clear what kinds of trends we're seeing and challenges we're seeing going forward in cities. The trend towards mega cities, cities with more than 10 million people. There'll be over 41 of those by the time we get to 2030, meaning a lot more cars, a lot more congestion. We have an increasing middle class. Anyone entering the middle class, they're going to want to buy a car. More cars, more congestion. And we all know what happens then. You get air pollution, you get air quality issues and the health issues that go along with that, as well as with consumers, and it really relates to what we've been talking about with gamification. Consumers' expectations are completely different now. They're fully connected all the time. When they're in a transportation mode, going from point A to point B, they don't want to have any change in that connectivity. They expect it to be seamless. So we put all these things together and say, this is a huge challenge for us as an automotive manufacturer. How do we play in this future? Where do we fit in? And we thought it would be very natural to ask that question to the games community, to people that are into gamification, because they'll give us, they love a challenge, they love a difficult problem, finding a solution. So we have opened up to them to ask them to come back to us with solutions that they think might address these mega trends that we see, and also address how we fit in there and how we help with mobility solutions in the future.
Well, looking back at the recent years at Ford, you've been the first ones to come up with an open platform, an open SDK, an open source SDK. How important are standards for this industry?
Standards are very important, and as you know, there's a lot of dialogue around safety and security around the electronics in a vehicle, and also, of course, with how data is managed. And at Ford, we take that extremely seriously. But we have created open platforms to encourage the experts, and we don't fool ourselves. We're not the experts in app development. We're not going to be the experts in this type of development work. But we want the experts to work with us to develop the best opportunities for our customers. And we thought having an open platform that people can develop for us would be an excellent way to do that.
And you've been also the first ones to start developer challenges.
Yes, absolutely. Again, we think it's a natural matchup. We've got some problems, and there's a whole community out there that loves to solve challenges and problems, so it's like a natural matchup.
Bob, What do you see as the biggest challenge? I mean, IAA only happens every 2 years, so, and we're taking a look at this booth right now, and we're talking about building up bridges into the game developers community. We're talking about this kind of urbanization trends and what kind of impact cars will have on future cities. What are the biggest challenges for you of the future of the car? Like 2 years ago, it was all about electric cars.
Yeah.
Now I see a lot of hybrids, a lot of plug-ins. So what's going on in the industry?
Well, I don't think there's a single silver bullet answer to that. And that's why we're looking at a lot of multimodal transportation systems as the real answer in the future. So it's not going to be, especially in urban environments, I have one car and I drive it to work and I drive it back home every day. I think we see the congestion and the issues that we talked about already that are going to preclude that from being the solution. It'll be something multimodal. One of the experiments and the work we've been doing is to integrate a bicycle right into our vehicle. So we've got a very compact, easy to carry, easy to fold electric bike that we designed it to fit into a Focus as well as our commercial vehicle, a Transit Connect. So maybe you start your journey in your car, you get to a train station, you take out your bike, you get in, just lift it up like a briefcase. Carry it into the train, now you make it into some part of the city center, and now you're going to ride the bike to where you want to go. The bicycle has there's an app that goes along with it that directs you the entire way of your journey, buys a ticket, whatever you need to do, tells you where to go. The bicycle even has haptic handlebars, so it buzzes your hand on the right when you've got to turn right, buzzes it on the left when you've got to turn left. It's got an electric motor, so if you want to get a little exercise till you get to the end of your journey, you can do that. Or maybe you're headed for an interview and you don't want to be all sweaty, so you use the electric motor to keep you calm and cool. But it's a combination of steps along the way. It isn't going to be just one big solution.
It's a huge mix of different platforms, infrastructures, ecosystems.
Modes, ecosystems, everything working together. And what's really important, and again, where the whole game community supports this, can support this, is how do you connect them all? How do you get that entire infrastructure connected, talking to each other in the same language that eventually ends up on somebody's personal device where all the information they need is right there in front of them. So that's an exciting challenge.
Exactly.
For your listeners.
Oh, absolutely, and I can't wait to see your booth in 2017. So, Bob, thank you so much for joining us over here. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on our live stream. And you know what? You can still head over to Frankfurt. The event or the show is still open for the next 2 weeks.